everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm here to show you today a card that I posted on my blog that is part of the International Highlights Winners blog hop. So I was lucky enough in the International Highlights blog hop that was posted in early October to be one of the top 10 winners. So thank you so much for voting for my card. Really appreciate that. But what it means is I get to participate in another blog hop of the top 10 winners that posted as of today. So I'm glad you could join me, and what I want to do is show you how to make the card that I posted, as well as give you some a cool technique for coloring some ribbon. So let me just switch over to my desktop and I'll get started. All right, so this is the card that I posted, and this is the ribbon that I want to show you how I did. So the theme of the blog hop is thank you. And so I thought this was a perfect card. Always grateful. And it's in Canada, we just had our Thanksgiving. And I know in the US, it's coming up at the end of November. But I think this card is perfect for the fall season, just because we always have so much to be grateful for and thankful for. So let me just show you how I put this card together. So I've got all my pieces here. Now, you don't have to worry too much. All of the measurements for this card are posted on my blog, and I will put the link to the blog underneath the video so you can go back to it and get them. As well as the written instructions are there. So I will give you the measurements on the video, but if you don't catch them and don't get them written down, you can always go back out to the blog. So this is Cajun Craze. It's cut 5.5 by 8.5 and folded in half to form a card base. So my bone folder. And then I've got a piece of early espresso cardstock that is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4, and a piece of designer series paper. This is from the Gilded Autumn pattern. And so I will just, see how pretty this side is. Cajun Craze with some copper or gold. It's copper. All right, so we're just going to adhere the designer series paper to the early espresso piece, and then the early espresso piece, to the card base. So that's the start of the card base. Okay, so now I have, so I've got a piece of very vanilla cardstock. And we're using the Celebration Tidings bundle. I really like this bundle. It comes with this coordinating label dies, as well as some little pieces that coordinate. For example, if you're doing Halloween, there's the spider and some leaves. But we're going to be using the stamp set with the Always Grateful sentiment, as well as the pumpkins, and then the second to the smallest label die. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually cut my label out. Got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine off to the side here. So let me just cut the label out. Go over there. All right, and the reason I do that is because I've cut this piece of Very Vanilla is cut 1/2 inch, and I actually realized it's probably a little long. It should be cut 1/2 inch by 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to fully trim it. There we go. So 1/2 inch by 3.5 inches, and I'm just going to lay this in the middle. And with a pencil, you just want to very lightly draw a line at the bottom, on the top, and then the bottom. And this will, I don't know if you can see that, this will just give me lines that I can then stamp my pumpkins. So we're just using the Memento, because I'm going to be coloring with some Stampin' Blends. I'm just going to stamp that on that line. So you won't see this line once you finish your card, because it's going to be covered up. So you just stamp one side, turn it 180 degrees, and then stamp the other side. Now I've pulled in some blends. So I've got the light and dark Cajun Craze, and then I've got the mint macaron and some soft suede. Now, I think I've said this in videos before, these images are pretty small, so I'm not going to do a lot of blending with my blends. I'm really just coloring. I'm going to do a little bit of blending on the pumpkins. So I'll just take my dark and I'll go along the lines of the pumpkins, and then go back over it with the light just to kind of blend that a little bit. But that's really the only image that is big enough to even try and do some blending on. Okay, this pumpkin. And again, just go over it and just kind of blend those lines. All right. And then I've pulled the light and dark mint macaron so that you can color the leaves. I'm just going to really color all of these leaves using the dark. They're pretty tiny. If you wanted to, you could use the light and then put a little bit of dark on them. So I really chose the colors based on what's on the designer series paper. Such pretty paper. All those leaves. And almost there. Okay. And then the last is I pulled the dark soft suede just to use for the stalk on the pumpkins. There we go. All right. So now the other piece. So we're going to go back to, this is my piece that I'm going to stamp the sentiment on. I'm using early espresso on this. So if you see any, because this is the piece that you can't see any of the pencil lines, but if you do, just turn it over or use an eraser to erase the pencil line. And we'll stamp. Always grateful. There we go. So that was cut 1/2 inch by 3 1/2, and this piece of early espresso is cut 3/4 inch by 3 3/4. Right, so we're just going to use some dimensionals to pop that up. And pull the backing off of that one. There we go. And put that down. No, of course not. Let me trim that just a bit. Got it. There we go. Okay. So then this is just going to go over the middle. So I'm just going to use Stamp and Seal, and that will cover over, so you don't have to worry about those pencil lines because you won't even see that because the early espresso will cover it. Now the last part for the front is to take this is amazing ribbon. This is the metallic mesh ribbon. And the cool thing about this, so I'm just going to cut a piece that is about 5 1/2 inches, which is the width of the piece of cardstock. And I'm just going to bring a piece of paper back in because this will get all over your grid paper. So I'm going to take the dark Cajun Craze and just kind of using it almost flat, just color the ribbon and you go from what is really a pretty silver ribbon, just doesn't go with my card, and it will pick up and hold the Cajun Craze, or whatever color you decide to use on your card. I've done this with real red on a holiday card. I've done it with Night of Navy on a snowflake card. So just kind of run it, and again, I'm just using the flat part of the brush by holding the Stampin' Blend almost flat to the paper. So there you can see that this is no longer, here's what the ribbon looked like. So it's no longer silver. Oops. It is Cajun Craze. So it's perfect for coordinating with any cardstock. Now I'm just going to put some Stampin' Seal in the middle to hold this in place. That will be covered up, and then I will use dimensionals on the back of my label. Try to keep these. If you use the pick on your take your pick tool to pick up all these dimensional backings, you can put them all in the garbage at once. Otherwise, I end up with them all over the floor and all over me. All right, so that goes in the middle, and I have some of the Gilded Gems, and I'm just going to put one of these on each end. Okay, so that's that, and then just for the inside of the card, I've got a piece of very vanilla cardstock. I think that's the right size, yeah. And I'm going to take the pumpkins, and I'm going to just use early espresso because I'm not actually going to color this, and just stamp the inside of the card with the pumpkin. I'm not going to color it, and I'm not going to put a sentiment just because it leaves me lots of room to write a note to whoever is going to get this card. I hope they enjoy it when they get it in the mail. There we go. Now if you need to, I see I've got this over a little bit. You can actually just trim your ribbon there, so it doesn't stick over the edge of the card. So there's the card. So not too hard. And a couple of tips, particularly about coloring the ribbon. So as I said, you can make this ribbon coordinate with any of your cards just by coloring it with your Stampin' Blend. Let me just switch back over. There we go. So thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. I'd love it if you enjoyed it and like the video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, I will put the link to the blog underneath so that you can go back and get the written instructions and the supply list and all the measurements for this card if you want to make it. If you like it, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. So thanks everybody. I'm glad you could join me today. Bye.